Everything stated in this video is my opinion and my opinion only. And just like everything else in these cases we discuss here on this channel, everything is alleged. Hey guys! It is almost 10 o'clock, but I wanted to read some more of these. What is going on? What are you guys talking about? Is something going on with Lana? There's a lot of you talking about. I'm guessing there was like a live that she had scheduled. Has people like check to make sure that she's okay? Not just like showing up. Yeah, like that's wild. I wonder what's going on there. Hey, Miller time. That is crazy. 30 minutes. Hey there, Emily. Hey there, 420. Hey there, Stella, Amanda, Blue. Let me say hi to you guys real quick because it's late and y'all guys are over here. So let me take a second before we get started. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing, Miller time? I don't know how to pronounce this. I don't know. New York because of the NY at the end. Welcome, welcome. Hey, Wanda, Teresa, Brandy, Polka Dots. Hey, Jackie. Hey, Kimmy, Sue Krantz, Jessica, Mr. Naysayer. Yeah, that's wild. If it's just rolling. I wonder what's going on. Hey, Steph. Candace Owens is calling out the one perp theory on X. Hey, Wayne. I know that she was talking about it before the trial, but she was saying that she was like going on maternity leave or something like that. I will tell you that at one point, Candace Owens did reach out to Xana's mom, Kara, but Kara didn't really want to be like on camera about any of the questions that she had. I don't know if that's going to change now. Probably not because of what we're having happen now. But Kara did have questions. I don't know if she still has those questions or if she's let go of those questions, but she was interested in talking to Candace Owens. She just didn't want to be on camera, or she didn't want like her name mentioned. And then Candace Owens was going on leave. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Candace Owens is still going to end up doing something on this or not. Hey, Skit. Hey, DKM. Sometimes when commercials pops up, it shuts us down. I have to start over. That's wild. I wonder if they did some sort of update to something. Skip everything. I'm a big skipper. Like I'm a skip ad advocate. Skip the damn ad. I wonder why it's blanking out though. I think y'all mentioned something about that in the last one. I haven't had issues on the TV. Like, because my computer is the only one that I have premium for. I've only caved because, you know, whenever we review things, it's really annoying to have the ads while we're reviewing stuff. So I pay for premium on this one. But for all the other stuff, they have ads and stuff and nothing's been crazy. Hey, Swamp Chick. So that's wild. That's wild. All 5 blueberry muffins. That sounds good. You know what I really like? Blueberry lemon muffins. I really like those. Hey there, Mr. Naysayer. Hey, Melissa. Hey, Teresa. Hey, not that Karen. Yep, it's alive. Hey, Rachel. Hey, Chris. Sunday afternoon there. That's crazy. All these crazy time zones. Hey there, Jane. Hey, Teresa. Hey, Sean. Yep, round 2. Hey, I've got something to say. Hey, Teresa, you missed it earlier? Well, hey, it's always good to get out, too. Hey, Dolly. That's what. So, is this like been going on? Because it's kind of making it sound as if it's been going on. Hey, Chris. Hey, Morph. No, you cannot, Brad. Because no, it's not. No, you cannot. Hey, Brandy. Yeah, I was determined to come back on tonight. And hopefully we can do 2 tomorrow. But I know tomorrow, whatever time I come out like early tomorrow, I want to go through some of the interviews first. Hey, Jean. Thank you. Yeah, look. I said a package didn't come in the other day because they scanned that they delivered it like 3 days early. And so I'm like reporting it missing. Like, what are you doing? I've seen the mail person drive by my house 1,000 times. I'm getting the notification every time they drive by. Where's my stuff? And it came in late. But this is what I was mad about the other day. I was like, damn it. Wild. Showing up. Okay, so something is like happening more often. 2 nights in a row. Is she alive? Like, has anyone checked to see if she's alive? Because if stuff's like pre-scheduled and she's just not showing up, that's kind of crazy. I am. I put it on as soon as it got here today. I took a picture and uploaded it and never took it off. That's crazy. Well, I hope she's okay and she has a reason. That's wild. Hey, Iona. Hey, Truth Seeker. Hey, Angie. I love you guys too. Hey, Witchy. Hey, Miss Lindy. Hey, Wong. I'm in Ohio, like Lana. We've had some pretty fierce Oh, see? Yeah, it might be storms, but 2 nights in a row is wild. But even then, like anytime that I ever have issues, I always can like get up and get on my phone and be like in the community post. You know what I mean? So to just not say anything, that's kind of like leaving you guys to worry. Thank you, MT. She says she overslept. Oh, maybe she just has a different schedule than people. I don't know. I don't go over there. I don't know what's going on over there. Hey, Jojo. Hey, Elizabeth. It's almost 10 here. The issue with the drippings in the basement stairs that are similar to Showalter's is that no one is supposed to have been going down those stairs. Yeah, and that's the excuse that they basically used, right? For the reason why they could just shelf it. They could just shelf it. But they can't prove that because why are we supposed to believe that whenever now we have Bethany saying that she not only heard a noise, but whatever noise was made, it had to have been outside of her door because she's seeing a light or at least on the bottom floor for her to see some sort of light, right? So that is crap. That's absolute crap for them to just assume that. Wild. Mm-mm. Hey, Nosy. Hey, Elizabeth. Hey there, Patty. See, every time a car goes, I can see it. So I saw every time the mail person passed by and I didn't have my package. Hey, Thousand Julys. Hey, Nona. Well, thanks for saying hi instead of just lurking tonight, Susie. Thank you. Hi, how you doing? Truth Seeker. Also, everyone was right and had to log into YouTube on my web browser to see the gifting options. Oh, good. You were able to turn it on. That's great. Okay. Love your work and diligent to expose the truth. That's all that needs to happen. The truth. Because this is wild. And like, this is not, this is what drives me so insane. Like the people that are like, even the ones that believe wholeheartedly that Bryan is guilty. Okay. How can like that side just be completely okay with what is happening right now? How can they be okay with there being no answers, no explanation, and the police that they had so much faith in to have this like strong case? They don't have answers. They can't connect anything. There's no Papa Rogers. There's no social media. Everything that we've been saying all this time, these people really thought that we were going to get to trial and all of this amazing magic was just going to magically come out of nowhere. Like even those people that really feel like he's guilty and there's no other person involved and it's just him and somehow he did this, how can they still just be like, okay. I'm sorry. I have a problem with that. I have a problem with all of those things. So yeah, we're definitely figuring it all out. Yeah, me too. I have 3. I mean, I get it. I don't know. That's why I said, has anyone checked to see if she's okay or not? Because I don't go over there. I don't watch her. I don't know what's going on. And check out the New York Times article debunking all the media conspiracy theories. Seriously, they were the biggest ones to start most of that. That's insane that they're even bothering. You can only skip the second one. Look, I know that they are constantly playing some bullshit. So whenever these lives are done and it like processes on YouTube, right? I'll go check the ads and they'll have an ad every 3 minutes. It'll start at like minute 3 or 4, and then the next one will be like 7 or 8, and it'll just keep on going. So I have to go in there and take out like 3 to 4 ads in between their automatic like ad slots. Like I have to take out like 3 to 4 in between so that it's not every 3 or 4 minutes. It's been like that since like 2 updates ago. And I know that like other creators have to be having the same issue because these are automatic ad slots. So what they do is everywhere where there's like a pause, where they feel like they can put a pause anyway, they'll put a pause. But whenever you did the automatic ads before, it wouldn't put them every 3 to 4 minutes. Like, I'm sorry, if I get on a video and within 3 minutes, I'm having to skip it, I'm having to like deal with an ad, I'm not going to watch that video. Like, you've already lost me before you've even gotten my attention. I don't know why YouTube is doing that. It's almost like they're doing it on purpose because they know that that's going to stop the watch retention, that an ad that early. So I'm constantly, like every day, having to go in to like make sure that I'm going in and like editing the ads out, because literally within 3 minutes, like there's a couple of them where it'll be like at 1 minute, 15 seconds. I'm like, so during my play, like the song, like as the song is playing, it's finding a way to put an ad in between like the song playing. See what I mean? So to skip everything, skip all the things, skip everything, skip everything, and skip everything. I just can't believe how stupid it is. They're constantly trying to cause issues. 20 more gifted memberships, Miller Time. Thank you so much. That's crazy. That's like 90 today because you did 50 and 20 in the last live and then 20 again in this one. You're just going to have everybody trying to get that book, huh? the member live is this Monday where I give away that book. Thank you so much. You're awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you for the $2, Lisa. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. You guys are great. Okay, we're going to go ahead. Oh, look, he had to do an even 100. I knew you were going to do that. That's crazy. Thank you so much. Yeah, see? That's a lot. Thank you so much. That's wild. Thank you. I appreciate that so much. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Let me go ahead and open this. We're going to start at 151. And if we go further than we do and I'll fix it, you know the spiel. So let's see how many we can get through. Because I'm anxious to get to like where he's arrested and they're talking to him, and then we can see like specifics for what needs to be FOIA'd completely, because I have a lot of FOIAs and stuff, lots of detailed FOIAs out there, but there's a lot of very specific things. And now that we know that some of these things weren't recorded, some of these things were just done with audio, no video, like where it says watch guard event none, that means that there's no camera. But it doesn't mean technically that it's not recorded. That's why we have to wait till like the very end of these reports to where it says whether there was a recording of it or not. We've pretty much like learned the gist of how they're trying to put these in here. I think I can make this one more time bigger. I try to make it to where y'all can see everything. Okay. So again, this is supplemental 151. This is from Dustin Blaker. And this is a tip from J.E. via the tip line. On February 22nd, 2023, I was listening to the tip line phone calls, and a tip from J.E. from Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania was left on February 16th at 06:49 hours. Okay, so after the arrest. Okay, yeah, because this was written on 2/22. Okay. In the tip, Jay stated her brother, S.E., and an R.K. used to be friends with Bryan Kohberger when they were in high school. J stated she felt it would be in our best interest to talk to R about B. Why would you blank out Bryan right there? Because it seems like that's what they did. I called J and she confirmed her brother S and R were friends with Bryan in high school, and Bryan has been in her mother's house during that time period. Jay was not sure if it would be helpful for us to talk to R, but wanted us to know about this. Now, I know that Casey came out and talked, and her brother had some issues with him. And there was even an interview that Casey's dad did because Bryan hung out with both of his kids, but that's not these initials here. I might have to go back into the book and see because they have a lot of like, not really a lot, but they do have some names. Plus, we also have subpoenas for some people that he knew back in Pennsylvania too that we can try to compare them to. Okay, I asked Jay if her brother S would talk to us as well. Jay told me she was not sure but would reach out to him and see if he would call us. I was able to locate info on Jay on TLO. I used this info to find info on S and R. I will provide this information to Corporal Payne so it can be provided to the FBI in Pennsylvania so they can reach out to S and R for a potential interview. So probably anything about this is going to have to be FOIA'd from the feds if they even give it over, which they probably won't. But we'll see, I guess. Okay, so this is from Lawrence Mowry, and it's a multiple warrant for TikTok, so multiple accounts. Written on 2/22. On December 13th, 2023, I applied for and was granted a warrant for the user subscriber information and user data associated with TikTok accounts of Maddie Mogen, Kaylee Goncalves, and Xana Kernodle with any of the following identifiers. I know that this is like a template. I don't know why they can't like fix this. Okay. And then Gmail, 2 different usernames, Yahoo, Gmail, and then it looks like one other username. On December 13th, 2022, at approximately 16:41 hours, the warrant was served via the TikTok LE portal. I received an email shortly after the submission confirming the receipt of the request and assigning the internal reference number. On January 19th, 2023, I received an email from TikTok stating the data requested pursuant to the warrant was available to download. On December 20th, 2023, I logged into the law enforcement portal and began downloading the files to the forensic computers located in the secure forensic computer lab at the Moscow Police Department. After briefly reviewing the contents, I found data associated with accounts for Maddie Mogen, Kaylee Goncalves, and Xana Kernodle. A warrant return receipt and affidavit were completed, and these documents were sent to the Latell County Prosecutor's Office, and then he sent a receipt to the TikTok email. Okay. Now we're on to 153. And this is where Lawrence Mowry is looking up search terms on Google. Okay. Written on 2/22. On November 26, 2022, I applied for and was granted a warrant to serve on Google for information on accounts searching the following terms from August 1st to November 13th of 2022. Okay. What is up with King Girls with an S and a Z? Is that something that we don't know about that we maybe should know about? That's kind of weird. Was there like an account somewhere with a username like this for just the girls that lived in King Road? Because this is pretty specific. Interesting. Okay. 1122 King Road, Moscow, Idaho, and then like both of these spelled out. 1122 King Road, King Girls all together with an S, King Girls all together with a Z, and then everyone's name. And then again, they have LM on here. Okay. They really were looking into a lot of this LM person's information too. On November 26, 2022, at approximately 15:46 hours, the warrant was served via email to blanket Google. On December 1st, 2022, I applied for and was granted a warrant to serve on Google for information on accounts searching the following terms from November 13th, 2022 at noon UTC time to November 13th, 2022 at 8 p.m. Moscow murders, murder in Moscow, Idaho, murder in Moscow, Idaho crime, Moscow, Idaho stabbing, University of Idaho murders, University of Idaho stabbing, King Road murder, King Road King Road stab. I can't say like that many more times without it like starting to trip out on me. Moscow, Idaho news, Moscow News, Idaho, Pullman news, Northern Idaho news, North Idaho news, campus that, DNA on knife, getting blood out of clothing, how to get blood out of clothing, getting blood out of clothing, how to get blood out of a vehicle. Jesus. Okay. On December 1st, 2022 at approximately 13:43 hours, the warrant was served via email to blank. This was done in an attempt to locate a suspect possibly searching for the victims prior to the crime, potentially gaining information on the persons, their residence, or lifestyles, which could be located on social media. The searches after were done in an attempt to locate a suspect possibly searching for information on the murders prior to the discovery of the victims. I was contacted by Google regarding the warrants and informed the process of the searches were extremely complicated and the large date range was problematic to their search queries. They stated they had to restart the process several times due to the complexity of the searches. Okay. On December 19th, 2022, Bryan Kohberger was identified as a possible suspect. Well, that's not coming from the Google searches, honey. And see, that's another thing. Okay. I'll say it again. A lot of people want to talk about the fact that they're trying to say that he scrubbed his devices, which I get, okay? But that doesn't take it off of Google's servers. It doesn't take it off of Google's servers. So even if he was using some sort of like anonymous device, they even were showing anonymous devices popping up in the geofence warrant, and then they were going in and able to somehow still track down where they belonged, who they belonged to. And there was at least one person's information that they dug further into. I think it was that CC name. I think it was the CC name. So if he was looking at any of this stuff, I feel like they would have said that. They would have said, yeah, he was searching for these things because we served a warrant to Google and it's on Google's servers and we were able to trace it back. Because only certain people would be using these terms in an 8-hour period. So it would definitely be traceable from their servers, regardless of anything that he did. So this being right here doesn't have anything to do with Google searches unless there's something that they still haven't told us. All this is really saying is at this point, they're requesting information, but they don't have any information. On February 15th, so on December 19th, he becomes a suspect, but they don't do really anything at all about this until February 15th. After talking with other investigators and conferring with the Latell prosecutor's office, it was decided to return the warrant without data, as the original broad scope of these warrants was to determine a potential suspect when none was known. New warrants specific to Kohberger's Gmail accounts, which can include search history, have been requested. So they just never even got the information for this back at all because it was taking too long because it was too complex. So a month and a half practically after they arrest Kohberger, they then decide to just like leave him alone. Just leave the warrant alone because now we have to just file this one. That's tunnel vision to me because you should still be trying to see if there was anyone searching those terms that's not Kohberger in that time frame. Like, why wouldn't you want to continue that search? They just like to shelf like so much, leave so many unanswered things. Unbelievable. Okay. 154. Lawrence Mowry. This is a Google warrant correction. On February 23rd, 2023, I found I had reported in my report referencing Google warrant return for the search terms. These warrants were served via Google. These warrants were actually served via blank.google.com, and I received confirmation from the email at Google referencing these warrants. Oh, so he served them to this website or served them to this other address and had it incorrect, so he fixed it. Okay, but that still doesn't give us like answers to anything, so okay. Brett Payne, CDA, PD, phone swab, and paper receipt. Okay. Not recorded. at least not on camera. This is a phone swab and a paper the report was written on 2/24/23. On or about February 13th, 2023, MPD received a package from the Coeur d'Alene Police Department. The package contained 2 items for Detective Mowry. I provided these items to Detective Mowry on February 14th, 2023, without opening the package, as I thought they were digital items. On February 23rd, 2023, Detective Mowry brought the 2 items into my office and told me they were not digital items. The 2 evidence items were swabs from JD's phone. I'm assuming that's probably Jack Ducour, and the paper used while taking the swabs. The swabs were taken before the phone was forensically downloaded. None of the seals on either of the items were broken, so I booked the packages into MPD evidence on February 24th, 2023. So you're meaning to tell me that they didn't even have swabs back from the ex-boyfriend's phone until 2 months after they arrested Kohberger? So they cleared a bunch of people without even having like analysis reports done on things like that? I mean, honestly, not shocking, but I'm sorry. I don't understand that. Okay. So now we have Roger Lanier making a correction to the paper that we read at the end of the last live, where they were talking about how the house no longer belongs to who it belonged to, now it belongs to the university, and they were taking everything over. And he put that it was 1022 King Road twice. He's now correcting it. 2/27/23. 6 days later, on February 21st, 2023, I completed a supplemental report detailing the release of the crime scene. And he had it on 10/22 like a big dummy. How could you get that wrong? I don't understand. Okay, so now we have number 157. Danny Vargas wrote this. Receipts collected by Detective Schweck from ISP. Turn this over some more. Okay, it looks like we have purchases. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Detective, I'm going to say Schweck. It might be Schwecky, but it's probably Schweck. With ISP provided me with a folder that contained the following receipts he collected during this investigation from some local businesses. The details are listed below. We have a Walmart in Pullman, and it's for Kohberger's debit card that ends in 1973. See, this is interesting because didn't they say that after the murders, he stopped using his debit card and started using cash for everything? Because this has purchases all the way down to December 8th, right before him and his dad went back to Pennsylvania. So that was a lie. They straight up said that. And I was like, oh, that's weird. I'll hold on for a second, because if all of a sudden he doesn't want his stuff traced, it seems opposite. You'd think he wouldn't want the things beforehand traced if he's such a mastermind, but doing it afterwards and all of a sudden he's just using cash, that's sketchy. And it's a lie. There's purchases afterwards. 10/28/22. And actually, they're all like late night. It shows his habits of just like being out late. And look, it's not a Moscow Walmart, it's Pullman. So he's hanging out late in his own freaking neighborhood. My God. Stupid. Okay, 10/28/22 at 15:54 hours. 11/7/22 at 22:37 hours. 11/10/22 at 21:19. 11/12/22 at 22:34. Look how late. That's like what, 10:30? 10:34 the night before. So he was out doing stuff, purchasing things just the night before. I wonder what he bought. I wonder what he bought at Walmart. 11/16/22 at 2300 hours. Dang. Is there Walmart? I guess they must stay open until midnight. Ours closes at like 11. I miss 24-hour Walmart. In pajamas. Anyone else do that in high school? When you were bored, just get in your pajamas and go walk around Walmart. I loved my 24-hour Walmart. Okay. 11/23/24 at 22:25. 11/29/29 at 18:58. 12/1/22 at 21:35. 12/2/22 at 18:34. 12/5/22 at 22:35, 12/6/22 at 22:07, and 12/8/22 at 2010. They damn sure tried to tell us that after 11/13, he did not use his debit card anymore and was straight up using cash. They said that in a document. We threw a fit about it. We had conversations for like 3 days about it. Okay. A majority of the items purchased were food items. On 11/7/22, Kohberger purchased a beanie hat, but there was no description of the hat. Okay. It's cold. It's November. I spoke with an employee from Walmart, and he stated at the time he met with Detective Schweck, they were unable to locate the details of the exact beanie which Kohberger purchased. On 12/1/22, Kohberger purchased utility clothes? That's after. I spoke with an employee from Walmart who told me this item was a 9-pack of hand towels, which were 2 shades of gray. So that's not utility clothes. That's hand towels for the man's bathroom. And we also need to remember that when it comes to the self-authenticating evidence, I'm pretty positive like the Walmart stuff like was found to not be like worth a crap. Okay, so he goes to Moscow to go to Target. A lot. Home dude freaking loves him some Target. Damn. Target's expensive, okay? The only time I ever bothered with Target is whenever I was hella couponing, and they were still allowing us to get as many papers from Dollar Tree as we wanted on Sunday. And there was rebates where if you spent like a certain amount or bought 4 of a certain thing at Target, you would get a $5 or a $10 gift card. And you could roll those gift cards. And they had a 4 like coupon rule. So you could go and get 4, let's say Herbal Essence, and use 2 of the, normally it was like $4 off 2 coupons, pay for that, get a gift card and like roll it. Use that $5 gift card for the next one, plus get a $5 gift card. Like that was the days of Target in my life. If it wasn't a coupon deal, Target wasn't getting my money because they're too damn expensive. Home dude loves him some expensive ass Target. 10/11/1742, 10/9/1924, 11/8/1852, 11/6/1829. Wow. What's that last date? Was 10 the 10th? So he didn't go to Target after 11/10/22, but that really isn't too big of a deal, even though he did go like a crap ton. Like he did go like a shit ton. Okay, this is going backwards. 11/6/22 at 1829. 11/6/22 at 1841. So he made like 2 purchases the same day within like a few minutes. So he must have like gotten out to his car and been like, oh shit, I forgot something. And then like went back inside. 11/4/22 at 2050. 10/24 1939. 10/20 at 2132. 10/19 at 2038. 10/18 at 1805. 10/13 at 2046. 10/10 2111. 10/6/2047, 9/30/2017, 9/26/2119, 9/10/2139, and 8/31/852. Home dude likes him some Target. One receipt from Target was provided from a transaction which belonged to BF, which was Bethany. Why do we need her debit card? Okay, it's 16. Okay, so this was 11/10. That's 11/10. 1609 hours. Kohberger was at Target on the same day as Funk, but made complete his transaction at 1742. It is unknown if Funk and Kohberger were in Target at the same time. No, probably not. There was nothing of interest purchased by Kohberger. No, because she left at 1609, and he showed up, or he completed his purchase at 1742. So no, they probably weren't even in the same store at the same time. Yeah, they had like all of these things in the self-authenticating records, and then they removed like so much. So much. Okay. Harbor Freight in Pullman. Bryan Kohberger's U.S. debit card ending in 1973, which I don't know why they feel the need to tell us that part. Name, customer number, and then email. He probably has a Harbor Freight account. I know that my ex used to go to Harbor Freight, because they would have like coupons where you could get certain like free or really, really cheap things. Like every month it would change, but you have to be like a member. If that's correct. I'm pretty positive that's correct. We bought a lot of crap from Harbor Freight. 11/20/22. So afterwards, he purchased a 1,000 watt continuous inverter. Okay, so that's probably for his car. 11/23/22 at 15:56, he purchased a 2,000 to 4,000 watt power inverter at a 1-year membership. And then on 11/23, he purchased an inverter cable. There were several other receipts from other customers, which Detective Schweck collected at Harbor Freight. I mean, I'll pull it up, but I'm pretty sure that that's what that is. 1,000 watt. What is it? Continuous. Inverter. Yeah. It's exactly what I thought it was. A friend of mine, like, lived in her car for a while, and she had, like, a big one like this so that she could, like, straighten her hair and stuff. So we know that they were going on a trip. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but he bought a 1,000 watt one on the 20th, and then a 2,000 to 4,000 watt one on the 23rd, and then a separate cable also on the 23rd. Like 30 minutes after he bought the bigger power inverter, he bought the cable. So it's probably like he went out there to like check something, and he realized he needed like another part for it to work. Okay. TAJ Grocery in Moscow. Taj Grocery. A receipt for a purchase made by Maddie Mogen. 11/12/22 at 11:05. What was the point of that being in here, though? Okay. Storage unit information from Colfax, Washington. Okay. So he has a storage unit. Oh, no, not listed. Okay. Detective Schweck collected unit renter information and contact information for 2 separate storage units in Colfax, Washington. 4-Star Supply mini storage, and then on Clay Street, and then storage units blank in Colfax. The name Bryan Kohberger was not listed as a renter at either storage unit facility. All the documents provided for me. Okay, blah, 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 whatever. So what's the point of this receipt right here? What the frick is Taj Grocery? On 3rd Street. There's another one in it says there's another one in Coeur d'Alene. It's right here. Why did they need that? Why did they bother with that? Okay. Okay. This next one's 158, and it says no redactions needed. So this looks like this is him just getting some traffic stop information for the one that Kohberger had in Moscow. This was written on 3/2/23. On February 28th, 2023, I emailed a formal request to Captain Anderson with LCSO, the Latah County Sheriff's Office, for a copy of all video and audio obtained during Corporal Duke's traffic stop for Kohberger. I was notified on March 1st, 2023 that the video was ready for me to pick up. I responded to LCSO on March 2nd, 2023, and retrieved a thumb drive, which I later reviewed. A thumb drive contained the video of Corporal Duke's traffic stop of Kohberger. In addition, Sergeant Blaker provided me a copy of the WSU PD traffic stop of Kohberger, which I also burned to the thumb drive. I uploaded both traffic stop videos to the case digitally and maintained possession of the thumb drive. So yeah, that's the October one that we saw. Okay, so here's 159. This is a tip, and it just says H tip number 157. And this looks like this is a person with the initials of AH I don't think this is the right person. Kohberger never went to Oklahoma State University. Not that I've ever been aware of. I mean, hell, I could have missed it. But what? Okay. January 23rd, 2023, the FBI tip line received an email from AH which stated Kohberger attended PhD courses at Oklahoma State University. H added she met Kohberger during this time, and Kohberger had befriended a professor named JD who gave Kohberger a K-bar knife. I spoke to H on the phone on March 2nd, 2023. I did not record the phone conversation. Why? I would have loved to have heard this. Okay. H related to me that she met Kohberger when D brought him to her house for a visit. H stated Kohberger made her very uncomfortable and she warned D about him. I asked H to email me everything she had to support her claim. H emailed me the following information on March 2nd, 2023. Between 2016 and 2017, University of Oklahoma began offering criminal justice bachelor degrees. Kohberger found it cheaper to take the courses here that he needed for degree. He would have still been a minor, I'm pretty sure. Maybe not. He wouldn't have been able to be in PhD classes in 2016, 2017. This person's stupid. School's phone blank. The dean who approved Kohberger was MB, since retired. Ask for dean above P. Here is the information you must have. Subpoena email something something at ou.edu. You will see the personal communication between D and Kohberger. Pin trap phone number, blah, blah, blah. D cell phone for 20 plus years. Witnesses. Something, something, something. TC. OWC instructor. Sunlight martial arts. Something okay. Allowed Kohberger to attend class as Jay's guest. MD allowed Kohberger to stay at home. Myself advised. D that Kohberger was homicidal and had possibly had a psychotic break. Violent, sloppy ideation of violence towards others. I believe I contacted an FBI agent named C. Jay alerted her. Kohberger used a credit card to pay for courses and travel expenses. Subpoena his financial records. I'll have another report for you this afternoon with addresses, numbers, and any other evidence of visit. JD lies to investigators, period. He lied to ME, Virginia State Police, in a cold case murder investigation. He is a Krav Maga instructor and a predator. He encouraged Kohberger and initiated him into brutality. I am here to help Moscow, Idaho in any way possible, and I have faith in your competence as a chief of police. ACH with a social security number, date of birth, and then says end of email. This person's on crack. Upon further investigation, it was learned that H had reported 36 tips to the FBI over the past several years. This is one of those troll psychos that tries to put themselves in every little case. Dot was one of them. She came out with her own mouth and said that the story about being on the porch and seeing people smoking and doing stuff in the backyard was all fake. And this is not the first case that she had been a troll in. She actually got outed because she was over on TikTok on Riley Lively's live talking to her with her made up ass lies, and her camera slipped and people saw her face and instantly called her out. So she had to come forward and admit it. This is a person like Dot that gets their jollies off or cures their depression or fixes their mental diseases with doing this kind of crap. Lying. In addition, there is no current information to support Kohberger ever attended Oklahoma State University. I will investigate further if information arises that Kohberger attended OSU. Well, it didn't. If you have proof that this person has reported 36 tips in the past several years, put them in a mental hospital, because obviously there's a problem and you've got several years worth of proof. I can't stand that kind of crap. You've literally got the proof to deal with this kind of person. So why are you allowing this to happen? Welfare check. Knock, knock, knock. Are you crazy? I think so. Jesus Christ. Okay. Brett Payne. Another one. Is this the same thing? No, this is another number. Oh my God. Is this the same person? The other one was supplement 159. This is supplement 160. Okay. Same person. On Friday, March 3rd, 2023, I spoke to, oh, no, the other one was JH. This is a VH. All these damn H names. Okay, different person. Rewind, erase, different person. I spoke to VH on the phone, reference a tip she reported to the tip line. I did not record our conversation. Of course you didn't. What's the point of like of doing like any sort of updates on the tips if you're not going to record the tips just in case the tip's important? Like, why would you just not record it? Okay. H originally reported the tip in January of 2023 and stated she had an encounter with someone she thought was Kohberger. I called H at blank and spoke to her about the tip. Oh, okay. H told me she was working as a dancer at blank on blank blank club in blank blank during the 2018 to 2019 timeframe. Blank is a 2-hour drive from blank, Pennsylvania. Hoffer stated, oh, they just put her name in here. All of this redaction for what? All of this redaction for what? Y'all just put her name. OMGbus. H stated she was unsure which of those 2 years the encounter took place. H stated she came into work on what she described was a slow day and noticed only one man seated next to the stage alone. She stated she got on stage and began her dance when she noticed the man seemed to be talking to himself. She stated the man made her feel uneasy, but she continued her dance. She told me during the dance, she heard the man state something about wanting to people. Y'all are wild as hell. H told me she thought she misheard the man, so she did not acknowledge the statement until he said it again. H said she could not remember exactly what the man said, but thought it was something to the effect of wanting to people. Girl, take your heels somewhere. Come on now. H told me she engaged with the man after the second comment, thinking he was trying to get attention. H told me she jokingly asked the man who he was going to which he replied something to the effect of, whoever I want. H completed her dance and left the stage. H told me the conversation was strange enough she remembered telling the bouncers at the club to keep an eye on the man who she said sat and watched the other dancers for some time. Eventually, H told me she offered the man a private dance as he was the only patron in the club. I'm sorry. He's sitting there talking about how he wants to people and you want him in a private room with you? What is happening? What is happening? During this dance, H told me the man told her to look him directly in the eyes the entire time and asked her questions about what car she drove and where she lived. H told me she finished the private dance, at which point the man left and did not return to the club to her knowledge. This is so stupid. I'm sorry, but this is so stupid. H told me she did not think about the encounter until she saw Kohberger's picture on TV upon his arrest. H told me she was fairly certain Kohberger was the man she encountered in the club that day. H did not have any further information to corroborate her story and told me she just wanted investigators to be aware. H reiterated to me she was fairly sure Kohberger was the man she saw. I concluded my conversation with H after I confirmed she would be willing to speak again if I needed further information. What? He's sitting there talking about wanting to take people's lives. Yeah, that's the guy that I want to be alone in a room with. What? Unbelievable. Okay. 161. We got more tips coming. Give me all of them. I can't wait to get back to the ones from Pullman too, because there's some like psychic ones and a dream one and a guy that's like crazy and saying all kind of stuff. Oh yeah. Well, that's one thing I'm gonna do too, thinking about it, is just put all the tips together, all the like all of those kinds of things. I'm just gonna string them all together in one, because wow. Okay, this is Brett Payne again. This person's initials is AL. Why is it all tip number 157? That's the exact same number on the last one for sure. AL emailed a tip to the tip line on February 18th, 2023, and stated he was on Johnson Road on November 13th and saw a white car parked alongside the road between 5 and 6 p.m. that day. I called L on March 8th, 2023, and spoke to him over the phone. Our conversation was not recorded. L told me he had gone to his sister's house in Blank, Washington on November 13th, 2022, and was on his way home later that evening. L told me he noticed a white foreign model car parked on the side of the road under a tree as he went by. L told me he believed the time was approximately 5:30 p.m. Okay. L stated he did not pay close attention to see anyone in or near the car, but thought it was odd. Upon release of the probable cause affidavit for Kohberger's arrest, L thought it may have been Kohberger's vehicle as it was on the Kohberger's path of travel the evening of the 13th. I had L describe the location to me, and he stated the car was under a large lone tree on Johnson Road between Johnson and Pullman. He added the pull out was located where Johnson Road changed from pavement to gravel. I located the location described and responded there. Upon receiving permission from the property owner, JS, I began to dig in several areas which appeared to have disturbed earth, but was unable to locate anything of evidentiary value. Well, it's been months, broski. It's been months. Sergeant Blaker and Detective Vargas responded with a metal detector and swept the area, but did not discover anything of note. We also searched under a nearby bridge, but did not discover anything of note. Further investigation will be conducted when weather permits. While on scene, Elle arrived and explained the vehicle was nosed in off the road facing the farm field. Elle also stated he and a friend came to the spot several days prior and also used a metal detector to search the area. I thanked Elle for his assistance and cleared the area after additional visual searches were conducted. In addition to this information, during my initial phone call with Elle, he told me he was painting the apartment of BK, the previous tenant and person named in tips during the initial investigation. Is this Brent Kopaka? Because this BK person was a person named in tips during the initial investigation. And those are BK initials. Okay. Let me write this down. Where'd all my freaking pens go, bro? Okay. Number 166. Number 161. Possibility. I don't know any other BKs. Because it would sure explain a lot when it comes to the reason why we've had slip-ups in court with this name. And now he's also being apparently talked about in the alternate perpetrator evidence. And Steve came out and made that real clear. This is interesting. In addition to this information, my initial phone call with L, he told me he was painting the apartment of BK, the previous tenant and person named in tips during the initial investigation. L stated he could see a knife blade in the gutter of the building from the apartment window. I requested WSUPD respond and collect the item, which they later did. The blade is a serrated cooking-style knife with the handle broken off. The blade portion was approximately 8 inches long and 2 inches wide per the WSU officers who collected it. Based off this description and the condition of the knife, I do not believe it matched the wounds found on each other the victims. They've got to do better. However, I will still collect the knife from WSUPD as soon as possible in order to properly analyze the item. That's crazy. This would have been like months after he was dead, though. This right here is wild. Who the frick is you, broski? AL. Was Adam Lauda a painter? Because Adam is the only one I can think of. So probably not, honestly. That's crazy. Okay, 162. Interesting. Okay. So apparently they all just have like number 157 on them for some reason, but okay. This is Brett Payne's. This is dated 3/15 of 23. Google returned for one of these addresses. March 9th, 2023, I downloaded the return for the search warrant issued to Google LLC for all information associated with the Gmail account something. And another one. The return was downloaded for Detective Mowry's desktop computer. Attached to the return was a certificate of authenticity attesting the records were a true and correct copy of records pertaining to the Google account holders identified with an Android identifier, this, and Google accounts this at Gmail and this at Gmail, with Google reference number blank. Accompanying the certificate of authenticity is attachment A. As attachment A is a list of hash values corresponding to each file produced in response to the search warrant. Okay, but it doesn't say who the fricks it is. It doesn't tell us whether it's one of the victims. It doesn't tell us that it's him. No clue. Oh, 157 is Payne's badge or employee number. Well, not anymore. Thank you. Not anymore. He doesn't work there anymore. Crazy. Welcome back, Caramel. How you doing? Thank you for the $4.99 wit. When you get a chance, if you go through the text of Steve, a lot of them make more sense with the documents coming out. The ones between him and Brat. Oh, I've been wanting to. I have them all doubly saved. Actually, triply saved. 1 offline, 2 online. I plan on it. Especially since I've been questioning how we have no real questions from him and all of this like complacency when it comes to the girls. Whenever he's actually had all these questions and has known like all these things for so long. I'll never understand that because there's so many things that they've known for such a long time and their behaviors just don't really show it. Unless it's all a big like play. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. Okay. Dustin Blaker, 3/15/23. Release of personal property to LR for Bethany Funk and Dylan Mortensen. So whoever LR is representing both of them in this, I guess. On March 9th, 2023, at around 16:30 hours, Kaplan Lanier and I met LR and RM at the city shop. LR is Dylan Mortensen's blank. LR was there to gather all of Dylan and Bethany Funk's belongings, which had been released by the judge. L signed a release form for Dylan's belongings and one for Bethany's belongings. I also had signed consent forms allowing L to take the property. I have digitally attached all of these forms to this case number. So now we're in March, and now they're getting the stuff back. Okay. Okay, now we have 164. Brett Payne. Photos of 1122 King Road from Walinta Drive. So I guess to get like an idea. Okay. Photos attached to Spillman case file. On March 15th, 2023, I drove the most likely route Kohberger took while driving near 1122 King Road on November 13th, 2022. The most likely route. Not the one that we know concrete, all these months later, but the one that we think he might have taken. During this drive, I took photos of 1122 King Road from Walinta Drive, the road Kohberger's vehicle can be seen taking on the surveillance footage from blank King Road, in order to record a daytime view of the residence from Walinta Drive prior to foliage returning to the trees in the area. I took the following photos and uploaded them to the Spillman case file. 1122 from Walinta 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then 1122 from Upper Lot, and then Walinta from 1122. In addition, Sergeant Blaker and I took MPT Patrol Car 4 and drove the most likely route Kohberger took during the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022, based off various surveillance surveillance footage recovered during the investigation. The drive was recorded out of each driver's side passenger window via MPD body cameras assigned to Sergeant Blaker and Officer House, as well as the dash-mounted camera in MPD. The videos are attached to the WatchGuard case record. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that, those are somewhere. Okay, so this one doesn't need any redactions. Dustin Blaker. Video from front lobby. Okay. Interesting. Item 669, verbatim DVD-R with video surveillance from the front lobby of MPD from 11/13/22. On March 21st, 2023, I was asked to see if we still had video surveillance from the front lobby area of the police department from November 13th, 2022. I was informed Kohberger's defense team had requested any video showing where any witnesses may have been kept. The grammar, where any witnesses may have been kept on the day of the homicide. I checked the cameras of the front lobby and the camera in the training room. I was only able to recover video from 3 cameras, which show the front lobby area. I burned the video to a DVD and booked it into property. It needs to be noted, none of these cameras are equipped with audio, so it's just muted silence. Okay. Oh, crap. Of course it did it. No, it should be okay. 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 Brett Payne. Whitman County Court documents. On Wednesday, March 15th, I requested all Whitman County Court documents reference this case. On March 16th, 2023, I received an email from the Whitman County Prosecutor's Office containing the requested records. I attached them to this case file electronically. Okay. That would be like Whitcom, like dispatch stuff, I guess. Stuff from the 911 call. Okay. Looks like they found a K-bar in Genesee, Idaho. That's cray-cray. Okay. Brett Payne, 3/21/23. LCSO, Latell County Sheriff's Office, knife collection. Not recorded. Not recorded. Item 668, knife. I was notified via email on Monday, March 20th, 2023, of a found property call reported to LCSO, wherein the RP discovered a K-bar brand knife in some bushes in the city of Genesee, Idaho, on the same day. Per the LSCO call records, the knife was located by a child playing in some trees at the top of Ash Street near Spruce Street. Wow. Okay. Deputy Whiting responded and booked the item into LCSO evidence. On March 21st, 2023, I responded to LCSO and looked at the knife. The knife was a K-bar brand knife with a blade approximately 4 inches in length. The knife was in a black Kydex sheath with cordage wrapped around the handle. This knife did not appear to match the wounds inflicted on all 4 victims. I collected the knife from LCSO and booked it into MPD evidence on March 21st, 2023. I also attached a photo of the knife. Well, at least people were trying. They were trying. Okay. WSU subpoena documents. This is Brett Payne. This is 3/21/23. Okay. On March 15th, 2023, I received an email from AS from WSU containing a secure link, which I was instructed to download the documents provided to response to the subpoena issued to WSU. I followed the link and downloaded the documents, which I later attached to this case electronically. The files contained email correspondence, class schedule, grades, application paperwork, and various other miscellaneous documents. So this would have been all of the educational paperwork that would have had to have been subpoenaed because they're not allowed to just like hand it over. Okay, so 3/22/23. This is Bryan Kohberger's Strava account. I did a whole video on what was found on Strava. On February 23rd, 2023, I applied for a warrant for data associated with any Strava accounts linked to Bryan Kohberger by recovery email, cookie, Android ID, creation IP, or phone number with any of the following identifiers, and it's all blacked out. On February 26, 2023, the warrant was granted and signed by Magistrate Megan Marshall with 14 days to serve. On March 1st, 2023, at approximately 10:24 hours, the warrant was served via email. I received an email shortly after the submission confirming the receipt of the request and assigning the Strava ticket number. On March 15th, 2023, I received an email from Strava stating the data requested pursuant to the warrant was available to download. On March 22nd, 2023, I logged into the law enforcement portal and began downloading the files to the forensic computers located in the secure forensic computer lab at the Moscow Police Department. In reviewing the contents, I found the user of the account had a date of birth of blank 1994 and logged into the account on July 31st, 2022 at 09:08 hours from the IP address of blank. This IP address showed it may be located near Sassamish, Washington, and is sourced to Leaseweb, Seattle. The mobile device ID showed blank. I found 2 saved run routes, both located on or near the Washington State University. In continuing to review the data, I found the account was following no other accounts and only had followers after December 31st, 2022. So nobody even knew it existed until they went around searching for his information, and they started following him even after he was arrested. A warrant return receipt and affidavit were completed, and these documents were sent to the Latell County Prosecutor's Office to be returned to the court. A copy of the receipt was sent to Strava. Yeah, we saw that. He can run pretty quick. He does have like a good run speed. But a lot of people say that they take up running that have autism and dexterity issues because it helps them like stay balanced. It's more like a make my body do what it's supposed to do type thing than anything else. Okay, so here we have is this the same? Oh, this is different knives in Genesee. Different knives in Genesee. Okay. 3/22/23. I was notified by ISP Detective Roberts at approximately 1300 hours on March 21st, 2023, that a landowner near Genesee, Idaho found 2 knives in a roadside ditch. Detective Roberts was not available, so I called to speak to the reporting party, RH. H stated he was cleaning out irrigation ditches when he noticed 2 kitchen-style knives with duct tape handles in the ditch. Yeah, if you got duct tape handles on it, you're doing something. H did not touch the knives and notified ISP. H told me where the knives were, and I responded to collect them. The location provided was in a ditch across the road from the driveway to blank Old Highway 95. I could immediately see the knives laying in the water and took several photos of the knives prior to collection. Upon collection, I observed one knife was a large butcher knife and the other was a small steak knife. The handles of both knives were wrapped in duct tape. Prior to leaving, I conducted one more visual search of the area and located a makeshift duct tape sheath in the culvert below where the knives were located. The sheath fit both knives at the same time. I collected the sheath as well. This is probably a teenager. This is like a kid playing with stuff he's not supposed to, I feel like. Upon further examination, neither knife appeared to match the wounds on the 4 victims. The larger knife blade was too wide to have inflicted the wounds on the victims, and the smaller steak knife appeared to be too short. Is this supposed to be STEAK, like moo? However, I booked both items in case further examination was needed. I booked the knives into MPD evidence and attached photos. Lots of knives just laying around everywhere. Lots of knives just hanging out, all in Genesee. How amazing is that? Okay, Brett Payne again. Something about a tip, but it just has like one name crossed out. Like it's just a last name, maybe? Okay. On March 4th, 2023. Oh, here we go. CT. So it's CT is the initials, called the MPD tip line and left a voicemail regarding a tip for this case in which she described seeing a man walk by her house at blank sometime during August or September of 2022. Sergeant Blaker sent me the tip on March 15th, 2023. I spoke to T via phone on March 21st. I did not record our conversation. I asked T to relay to me what her tip was in reference to. Tip told me she used to live at blank. This home is located approximately 0.13 miles due east of 1122 King Road. So right the frick there. Right the frick there. Just say in the neighborhood. T told me she was home one day in August or September of 2022 when her daughter came running into the house saying there was a man walking through their yard. T stated she looked out of the window and saw a man who looked nervous walking on the south side of her house from east to west. T told me she frequently saw people walk by the house, but not in that particular area. T said the man had curly hair with a large nose, and he walked by without saying anything. T stated the encounter became stranger when the same man walked back by the house in the opposite direction, but taking the same route approximately 15 minutes later. Why wouldn't you have called the cops to get the frick out off my property at this point? T said she stepped outside and yelled to the man he was on private property. T said the man didn't look at her and simply walked away. T then told me unprompted that she believed the male she saw was Kohberger after she saw a side profile picture of him on the news after his arrest. T stated she was 92% sure it was Kohberger. T stated she did not see the man any other times after the occurrence in August or September. However, T told me there was another occurrence in June or July of 2022 when a white sedan was parked near her mailbox for over an hour. It should be noted blank is a dead-end road with only residences. T told me the vehicle left after her neighbor walked out to ask the man if he needed help. T could not positively say what type of vehicle she saw that day. T was not able to provide any further specific detail about dates. Look, I would have called the cops. Like I said that a lot, but I would have. I used to live in a dead end street. It was me and one other house, and then there was like nothing at all on the other side until it got to like, I don't even know how many down. Like it was us in a circle. Okay. Anybody down there, you down there for more than 5 minutes? What you want? I'm walking out. I'm looking at you. What do you want? Why are you at the end of my street? What do you want? An hour? Oh, you would have never made it that long. You would have never made it that long sitting at the end of my cul-de-sac like that. I'm sorry. No, I'm that person. I don't give a damn. I don't trust nothing. I'm that person. I am that person. Lawrence Mowry. I don't know what in the actual frick frack this is right here. 3/23/23. Kohberger Reddit warrant. On January 24th, 2023, I applied for a warrant for the user. Okay, that was about to go off. For the user subscriber information and user data associated with a Reddit account of Bryan Kohberger with any of the following identifiers. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On January 25th, 2023, the warrant was granted and signed by Magistrate Megan Marshall with 7 days to serve. January 26, 2023, at approximately 09:06 hours, the warrant was served via email. On February 8th, 2023, I received an email from Reddit stating the data requested pursuant to the warrant was available to download. On March 22nd, 2023, I downloaded the files to the forensic computer, and then there was also a receipt sent to a Gmail and a desales.edu email. In reviewing the contents associated with the that's because of the survey was included in that. Okay. In reviewing the contents associated with the blank@gmail.com email, I found the account name was blank and the registration date was September 24th, 2021 at 10:54 UTC. The registration IP was blank, which showed a location near Albrightsville, Pennsylvania with Penn Teledata. The email address for this account showed as verified. In reviewing these files, I located a file labeled comments_votes.csv. The file contained the following permalinks, and it's about felons, research participation. Yeah, that's the links to the surveys. Yeah, he was in there. Like, is this going to be like a direct link? Huh. Is this supposed to be him? Like this one you can't click and this one you can't click, but these you can sort of click. And make my husband want to off himself? What in the frick frack? This must have been stuff he was reading or maybe commenting on. Kids are effing stupid. Jesus Christ. Prison comments. This was removed. This was him, probably. This was removed by Reddit's filters. It is green and scary. Let's click another one. This is the same one, I think. Who is Tempest PhD? Okay, so this, I'm just going to read this to see, like, I don't know where this is coming from. If this is stuff that he, like, looked at or why this is on here. Okay, 3 years ago. Hello, deleted and allowed. I'm a writer and I have a character who just got out of prison and is currently on parole. I'd be grateful for anything you'd be willing to share about what that transition was like for you specifically. When were you expected to pay your first round of fees? Were these monthly or weekly? And what is a ballpark figure of how much was due each time? I know this is state by state, but what are some rules and limitations you were given? Anything you're willing to share about your experience finding work as a felon straight out of prison? Thank you for your time and responses. So it's basically like what he was going around and like looking and seeing what other people were asking questions about. Okay, so that page is not found. Research, yeah, criminology _ student. I remember that being his account. Somebody named Waka55 was first, but never went further than that. In the post votes.cvs, blah, 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 blah. So I guess he would just would vote on these. Sorry, this post was removed. Nope, this was his. Look, somebody right here from 3 years ago looking at it. Oh my God, he has so many posts on here for stuff like this. Yeah, this is them knowing what it is, who it is. That's crazy. Kids are effing stupid. What? Oh, about kid stuff? So that's stuff he voted on? Okay. Stopping study / research / soul / questions for felons type posts. Hey guys, I've read a lot of your replies on these posts and observed how these people word their responses. To be honest, I'm done tolerating these types of people and their use of the subreddit as their personal lab. We are all people and we are here to better ourselves and those around us that are in a deeper hole than we are. This subreddit will not be a lab. So this guy's like obviously somebody who was in prison and is pissed off that people are on here asking questions. What a loser. What a loser. No, you're just mad that you're going to have some secrets come out, you loser. Loser. I sent an email to Reddit to ask for clarification on what these data files directly relate to, but have not received clarification at the time of this report. In reviewing the contents associated with blank@desales.edu email, I found 2 accounts associated with the email. The first account name was blank and the registration date was December 30th, 2022 at 21:58 UTC. The registration IP was blank, which showed a location near Tampa, Florida, with Frontier Communications. This account also showed additional IP logins from Florida on January 2nd, 2023, the 4th and 11th, which was after he was in jail. The email address showed it was not verified. During these dates, Kohberger was incarcerated and was not in Florida. With this information, I believe this account was a fake account. One real asshole-ish of a creator lives in Florida. But there was also a guy, according to the book, that was sending Chief Fry pee-pee pics and threatening to ixnay him that lived in Florida. Just saying. Just saying. Okay, the second account name was blank, and the registration date was April 1st, 2022 at 2039 UTC. The registration IP was blank, which showed a location near Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, with PIN teledata. A second login IP was registered as blank on November 21st, 2022 at 2210 UTC, which showed a location near Kansas City, Missouri, with level 3 communications. This IP address also showed a high probability of being a VPN exit point. The email address showed it was verified. So he logged in to Reddit on November 21st and used a VPN. I use a VPN on every device in my house. So there's that too. Okay, so email address showed it was verified. In reviewing these files, I located a file labeled comment_votes. This is the same thing. This is just him. Yeah, this is the same one we already clicked on. So it's like he was going in and maybe like upvoting his own post to maybe get it more attention. Is that how it works on Reddit? This page wasn't found. These are all like his own posts. I bet you that's what it is. He was going in and like upvoting his own stuff so that it would get more research, like more push. In the message data file, the following were located on 6/3 of 22, so June 3rd, 2022. Subject research survey. Hello. I attempted to post a survey to the R prison subreddit, but my post was automatically removed. I imagine that this may be due to the lack of activity on my account. As I have seen others post research recruitment posts on this subreddit within the past few months, would it be possible to obtain approval to submit a recruitment post to our prison? The recruitment post has my information in it, and the survey itself has an informed consent form that confirms my affiliation. I have been able to post my survey to other subreddits such as R ex-cons and R felons. You can look at the specifics of my recruitment post by looking at these posts. Thanks in advance, Bryan. Okay, so he was trying to get one of them approved that got automatically rejected. He got a response back and said, I just approved the most recent one you posted. I have the auto mode filter comments. Comments of new accounts are super low karma. You should be fine now. So he like never did anything on the account, so it didn't look like it was like a real account. That's why he had issues. And it looks like did they keep it? Well, this is disturbing. If that's the guy, it's him. You don't know that yet. We do. That's why your account's deleted? That's funny. Things that make you go, I mean, not really. It's pretty freaking normal. And then here's where like somebody put the information. Yeah. Okay. We want to remind you that Flare. Okay, no, that's just like a bot replying. I don't care what the bot had to say. Okay, so this is again, okay. Hello, would it be possible to have a repost of my recruitment post approved for submission? I think it would be beneficial for the recruitment effort. Thanks, Bryan. Oh, he got banned. You have been temporarily banned from participating in R felons. You can still view and subscribe, but you won't be able to post. And then there's just a bunch of like auto stuff. But then whoever like he asks if it could be reposted, they did it because it says done right here. And then there was a report sent in. It says your report and the related content have already been processed through our anti-abuse system for review. It has been determined that the reported content does not violate. Okay, so it was like unjustly screwed up. Somebody reported it as being targeted harassment at me. So some felon that was butthurt that the questions were being asked reported it. Probably that loser we just read about. My God, there's so many links. In the post file, several posts contain the similar data in the body field was located. They all showed the same IP address of blank, which dates between June 3rd, 2022 and June 22nd, 2022. The subject line showed variations of research participation needed and was posted to subreddit pages of prisons, felons, prison talk, prisons, ex-cons. The following URLs were located. You can't click on any of these, so something must be wrong with them. The text associated with these posts was, "Hello. My name is Bryan, and I am inviting you to participate in a research project that seeks to understand how emotions and psychological traits influence decision-making when committing a crime. In particular, the study seeks to understand the story behind your most recent criminal offense, with an emphasis on your thoughts and feelings throughout your experience. In the event that your most recent offense was not one that led to a conviction, you may still participate. Additional surveys are included after the open-ended section as to best understand your unique traits. The study should take about 30 minutes to complete fully. Your identity and all answers provided are completely confidential, and the link to the survey is also an anonymous link. This research has been approved by the DeSales University IRB. Participants must be 18 years of age or older. If you opt to participate, you may terminate participation at any time for any reason. If you have any questions about this research, you may contact the research team via email. Student investigator Bryan Kohberger at blankdesales.edu. Anonymous link to the study. Thanks for your time." And then they sent a return warrant to Reddit. And then it says down here, I guess there was like some more stuff. On January 24th, 2023, I applied for a warrant for the user subscriber information for Bryan Kohberger on Reddit with all of these right here. On January 25th, 2023, the warrant was granted and signed by Magistrate Mogen, had 7 days to serve, served on the 26th of January at approximately 09:06. Is this the same thing? This is the exact same thing. Yeah, because here's I make my husband want to off himself one. Yeah, we've seen this already. Here's the two accounts with the thing in Florida. They like double copy control V this, I guess. Just approved you. Yeah, this is all the exact same thing. Except right here, it's not telling you like which subreddit it is, I guess, or whoever the username is. Yeah, this is all the same stuff. Hello, my name is Bryan. Yeah, same thing. Okay. Off to 173. Okay, Brett Payne. WSU subpoena installment. On Thursday, March 23rd, 2023, I received a secure download link from AS advising another installment of information was available for download as requested through subpoena served to WSU. I followed the link and downloaded the files. Upon review, the files contain records of Kohberger's teaching assistantship termination, parking records, and housing records. I attached these files to this case electronically. Yeah, I'm waiting to see the paperwork for that because as far as we know, and as far as Jenkins was talking, he was still working for the university as of the 20th. And we were told that he was fired before that. And Jenkins is like, no, he was there. He was still in the system. Nothing was showing that he wasn't working there. And I think even in, I listened to somebody read parts of like the interview that he had with them in Pullman, a couple parts of it whenever I was cooking earlier, and he was still talking about how he still worked there, and I haven't seen anything that showed that he was fired prior. So I'm waiting. Okay, so Danny Vargas, 3/28/23. Pullman PD injury accident video review. Oh, they're still watching. Okay, so they were even looking at this? I guess because Kohberger had this guy's screenshot on his phone. Maybe they wanted to look at it further. On 11/12/22, at approximately 23:40 hours, Whitcomb received a hit-and-run accident in the area of blank Pullman, Washington. DR number, blah, blah, blah. Multiple PPD officers arrived on scene and blocked off the area where this incident occurred. The location of this accident was near the west entrance to the blank apartment complex near Kohberger's residence. CF was later arrested as the suspect in this case and booked into Whitman County Jail. F was booked into Whitman County Jail on 11/13 at 8:45 a.m. On January 3rd, 2023, KL, the Pullman PD record specialist, sent me a link to ppdevidence.com so I can view and download the videos related to this case. I downloaded 35 videos, which spanned between 11/12/22 at 23:41 hours to 11/13/22 at 03:25 hours. A majority of the videos were in the area of where the suspect vehicle was eventually located, Northeast California Street. Just blank. I provided the downloaded videos to Detective Mowry so he could upload them to MPD evidence servers. I'm interested in what's up with this guy. Okay. I later viewed the videos. I did not see a vehicle matching Kohberger's vehicle in any of the videos on Brandy Way or in the videos near Northeast California Street. The longest video recording on Brandy Way starts at 23 to 43 hours and runs for 1 hour and 21 minutes. All of the videos captured on Brandy Way span from 11/12/22 at 23:41 to around 11/13/22 at 0100 hours. Brandy Way was closed off with cones and police tape from 11/12/22 around 23:41 hours until 11/13/22 at 12:30 hours. So police tape from 11/22/22. Wait, what? Okay. So the scene could be processed. Detective Sergeant Chris Engel told me Northeast Brandy Way was cleared by 11/13/22 at 12:30. This included the west entrance to the Blank apartment complex, which had police tape across the entrance. The east entrance to Blank Apartments was still available for access to the complex. While reviewing Kohberger's cell phone data extraction, I located a screenshot of the Whitman County Jail roster with CF information. The last modified date and time for the image was 11/13/22 at 6:27 p.m. This image was taken from Yik Yak. So he was on like the student boards. He was on the student boards on Yik Yak and somebody else posted it. And so he just took a screenshot of it. So he didn't actually go to the Whitman County Jail roster and search this guy's information himself. He saw it as he was scrolling on Yik Yak and took a screenshot of what somebody else posted, is what I'm seeing. In Kohberger's Chrome tab history on his phone, I located where he searched Google for broadcastify.com/listen/feed. I thought he scrubbed his devices. How much did he scrub his devices if he's leaving this kind of stuff on there from the date of the crime? Missed me with it. He was looking for Broadcastify. We all look at Broadcastify. There's lots of you on here that get on Broadcastify and listen to stuff. It's very common, and it's been around for a while. Pullman Police and Fire Dispatch live audio feed on 11/13/22 at 12:26:49. Well, isn't that around the time the accident was happening? 12:26:49 a.m. Ooh, a.m. Okay, well, that would have been like right after the 911 call. Maybe waiting for Pullman to be called in after the 911 call. Interesting. It looks like he was on Yik Yak a lot. So I'm really curious because of what we're seeing in the book when it comes to what the Yik Yak boards were claiming. I'm wondering how fast the Yik Yak boards for WSU were going off. Curious. Super curious. Because that would matter with that. Okay. 175, no redactions needed. Brett Payne. Receipt of FBI vehicle charts. Oh, you mean like all the charts where like it's a Nissan and a bunch of stuff that don't even make sense? Okay, there's a DVD and then vehicle charts. On Tuesday, March 28th, 2023, I received a packet containing a CD of vehicle identification charts from the FBI. The FBI additionally provided hard copy photos of these charts. I booked the CD and the photo charts into MPD evidence on Wednesday, March 29th, 2023. And that's it. Okay, 176. We're just going to go until I'm tired enough to get off of here. It's only 11:30. Well, it's 11:20. So we're going to go for a little while longer. Brett Payne, 3/29/23, WSU subpoena installments 4 and 5. Okay. On Tuesday, March 28th, 2023. I'm looking at the CH of the professor and seeing if I can remember who that was. John Schneider is the one that he had issues with. That's a different initial. Okay. I checked my official MPD email and saw I received 2 additional emails from AS from WSU. The emails contain instructions for how to access 2 separate secure links and download installments 4 and 5 of the WSU subpoena documents. I downloaded each of the installments to my assigned MPD computer. Installment 4 contained correspondence between Kohberger and Professor D.M. I don't know who that is. And correspondence between Kohberger and Professor C.H. I don't know who that is. Installment 5 contained Kohberger's Cougar health records. So I wonder if that would mean the doctor's appointment he went to before. I feel like probably. I attached these files electronically to the case file. Okay. 177. This is no redactions needed. WSU PD records. Oh, enter Don Daniels. Enter Don Daniels. Okay. On Wednesday, March 29th, 2023, I contacted WSU PD Assistant Chief Don Daniels and requested all case file information concerning Kohberger and the homicide investigation. Later on March 29th, 2023, Assistant Chief Daniels emailed me a link with the requested information. I downloaded the provided information and attached it to the case electronically. That's it. We're not getting anything else. I want more from her. Okay. Brett Payne. Anonymous call follow-up. Okay. On March 12th, 2023, I received an email from MPD Corporal Tesdall advising someone had called claiming responsibility for the homicides. The caller hung up without providing any information. The number the call originated from was blank. I searched TLO and requested assistance from the FBI in looking into the number. No available databases had any information on the identity of the caller, so it was a burner phone. Wild. 179. No redactions needed. Okay. Is there anything on it, though? Of course not. Okay, it's just the WSU PD internship paperwork. Okay. So this was received by Brett Payne on 3/29. On Wednesday, March 29th, 2023, I attached the 2 documents pertaining to Kohberger's application for the WSU not paid, PD internship. These documents were provided to me by a member of the interview panel for the internship. You mean Chief Jenkins? Why are you just now getting this on 3/29 whenever Chief Jenkins made it sound as if he handed that ish over pretty much as soon as he got back to WSU on the 20th? Okay. 180. Lawrence Mallory. Reddit definitions, whatever the frick that means. Okay. Okay. On March 29th, 2023, I received an email response from Reddit legal support in reference to my inquiry of the contents of the 3 data files received. Comment_votes, poll_votes, and post_votes. The email stated the following. Reddit is in receipt of your message and does not have a standard document outlining each data category. However, in response to your question regarding specific categories, comments. This file relates to the comments that the user upvoted or downvoted, if any. For more information on how voting works, please click here. Poll. This file relates to polls that the user participated in, if any. Post. This file relates to the post that the user upvoted or downvoted, if any. So not like the post they actually made, but just the ones that they voted on. Okay. 181. Brett Payne, WSU subpoena installment number 6. When I reported for duty On Tuesday, April 4th, 2023, I had an email from S containing another secure download leak for installment 6 of the requested WSU subpoena documents. I accessed the files via the secure portal, downloaded them, and attached them to the case electronically. The files contained student schedules for Kohberger and chat logs for Microsoft Teams. So that's something else that I was wondering if they were going to be able to get, was like his conversations that he had. Because again, even if he's trying to get rid of stuff on his own computer, you cannot scrub that ish from the servers. Like, it's forever there. He knows this. Okay, Lawrence Mowry. Snapchat technical issue. OMG-bus. Let's see what this says. On April 7th, 2023, I received an email from Snapchat in reference to the warrant served on November 21st, 2022 for the accounts of Xana, Ethan, something, associated with Kaylee, blank, associated with... Who in the actual frick frack is J.O.? Or maybe that's J.D. and it's not capitalized. I think it's J.D. and it's not capitalized. Blank associated with probably Dylan and blank associated with probably Bethany. Why do you not have Xana, Ethan, and Kaylee's name completely blocked out minus the first letter? They're like, redaction game is not good. This email stated Snap Inc. discovered a technical issue appears to have impacted the records produced on or about November 28th, 2022. The email continued by stating, as a result of the technical issue, Snap may not have produced certain data responsive to your search warrant. Therefore, after remediating the technical issue, Snap is regenerating the production responsive to your search warrant. This was linked to Snapchat reference number whatever, which was the reference for the warrant served on Snapchat for the previous accounts. So there was a problem, of course, where the maps are, where they were looking to see where Xana was and still not checking on her. Of course, we're going to have technical issues. I was able to log into law enforcement portal and download the data. Blah, blah, blah. Unbelievable. Okay. Well, hopefully there wasn't anything missing in the second coming of the information, but we shall probably never see. Brett Payne, U of I OCRI data, written on 4/12/23. On Thursday, April 6, 2023, FBI Tech Specialist T provided me with the original OCIR documents received from the University of Idaho. Specialist T provided me with one Toshiba hard drive and 2 thumb drives. As these items all contained the same information, I booked them as one item into MPD evidence on Wednesday, April 12, 2023, to be retained as originals. Okay. Number 184, no redactions needed. Brett Payne, PSP documents and videos. This would be Pennsylvania State Police, not PlayStation Portable, like my brain originally thought. Throughout the course of the investigation, I received working copies of reports, videos of interviews, and tactical briefs and reports from the Pennsylvania State Police. I received these items from Detective Justin Leary and the PSP CERT team commander. On Wednesday, April 12, 2023, I compiled these working copies into one file and uploaded the file to a hard drive. I booked the hard drive into MPD evidence on the same day. The originals will be maintained by PSP per their policy. Okay, so then whenever I do my FOIA, I am going to reference incident number 22-M09903, sequence number 184, and the date right here specifically with this part probably too. There's a bunch of dates on here, but I'm pretty sure it'd be like this one. And I'm going to ask for the reports, the videos of interviews, and tactical briefs and reports from the Pennsylvania State Police that was put into one hard drive as one file on Wednesday, April 12, 2023 by Brett Payne. I am going to ask them for this very specific thing now that this is on here like this. Okay. Number 185, Lawrence Mowry, Snapchat extended warrant. Okay. 4/13/23. On March 30th, 2023, I applied for a warrant for user data from June 23rd, 2022 to August 1st, 2022, associated with the Snapchat accounts with the any of the, that's how it reads, with, the any of the following identifiers. Xana with this one, Kaylee with this one, Ethan with this one, Dylan with this one, Bethany with this one, and Maddie with this one. A previous warrant to Snapchat requested the date range August 1st, 2022 to November 20th, 2022. Based on information obtained from Washington State University, Bryan Kohberger moved to Pullman, Washington on or about June 23rd, 2022. I requested both historical records and real-time provisional records in order to determine if Kohberger had any interactions with the victims leading up to November 13th, 2022 crime. On March 30th, 2023, the warrant was granted and signed with 14 days to serve. On April 3rd, 2023, at approximately 10:36 hours, the warrant was served. I received an email shortly after submission. Here's the internal reference number. On April 13th, 2023, I received an email from Snapchat stating the data requested pursuant to the warrant was available to download. I logged in and downloaded to the computer at Moscow PD, and then he sent a receipt to Snapchat. Okay, 186. Lawrence Mallory, AT&T extended warrant. On March 29th, 2023, I applied for a warrant for the call data records for Maddie Mogen blank. Oh, this will probably be the phone number. Maddie Mogen with the phone number and Xana Kernodle with the phone number between the time period of June 23rd, 2022 to August 1st, 2022. A previous warrant requested the date range August 1st, 2022 to present based on information obtained from Washington State University. Bryan Kohberger moved to Pullman, Washington on or about June 23rd, 2022. I requested both historical records and real-time provisional records in order to determine if Kohberger had any interactions with the victims leading up to November 13th, 2022. On March 30th, they got the warrant. They were given 14 days to serve. On April 3rd, it was served at 09:12 hours, and he received a submission confirming receipt. On April 12th, 2023, there was an email received from AT&T with the data requested. On April 13th, 2023, he downloaded it to the MPD computers. A copy of the data was provided to the FBI CAST team for analysis. A warrant return receipt and affidavit were completed, and he sent a receipt to AT&T. Okay. 187 is from Dallinger, and it is a release of personal property from the city shop. I wonder who else is in there. I'm not sure who still has things in the city shop as of April. Let's see. This was written on my birthday. Okay. On April 14th, 2023, I was contacted by SC, most likely Stacy Chapin, via phone. Stacy told me she was in town and was informed MPD may still be in possession of some of Ethan's belongings. I told Stacy I was unaware of any, but I told her I would respond out to the city shop where personal belongings retrieved from 1122 King Road were stored and see what was there. When I arrived at the city shop, I found there were 5 boxes of items labeled as being from both the living room area and the spare bedrooms of the home. There was also a clear plastic tote which had miscellaneous clothing items in it. I advised Stacy she could come to the city shop and look through the items if she wished. Stacy arrived a short time later with her husband and daughter. The family looked through all of the boxes and collected 3 items they believed belonged to Ethan: a Sigma Chi banner, black sweatpants, and a brown belt. I created a receipt for the items utilizing a MPD supplemental statement form, which Stacy and I signed. I scanned and attached the receipt. Okay. Number 188. This is now the 7th installment of information from WSU. This is from Brett Payne. On Thursday, April 20th, 2023, I received an email from AS from WSU containing a secure link to download installment 7 of Kohberger's WSU records requested via subpoena. I followed the link and downloaded one compressed zip file from the secure portal. The zip file contained several grading rubrics and written assignments completed by Kohberger during his time at WSU. I attached the zip file to the case file electronically. That's it. Okay. 189. There's only 11 left on this like 50 dump, so these are kind of short. We're probably just going to go ahead and finish all 50 in this one. So we'll stop at 200. Brett Payne, 4/26/23. WSU installment number 8. Okay. On Friday, April 21st, 2023, I received an email from AS from WSU with a secure link to download installment 8 of the WSU records requested via subpoena. I had already checked out of service for the day and did not access the link until Wednesday, April 26, 2023, at which time I followed the secure link and downloaded the files to my department computer. So you're clocked out on Friday, but you don't do shit for 5 more days. That's a long week in home skillet. The files contain several screenshots of text conversations between professors referencing Kohberger, as well as meeting minutes from a meeting between Kohberger and somebody with the last name W on August the 19th. One of the screenshots shows a conversation between someone titled M in the text window and an unknown person. The first message from M reads, "Do you want to take Kohberger?" He listed you and A as people he was interested in working with. The other person replied, "If I must, ... Okay. Another screenshot of a message thread from M on September 19 reads, "Blank tells me we need to do an intervention with Kohberger. She's going to try to gather information, but apparently he's offended several of our female students. Assuming we get some details, how do you want to handle this?" The reply reads, "Let's see when we have more information." Yeah, this is the grading thing. This is where people were getting mad that he was grading them harshly, but then there were also women. There were men and women alike that he was grading really harsh, but then there were men and women alike that he liked and appreciated their work. And as much as he would write paragraphs about what these other people were doing wrong, he would write paragraphs about what he liked about the good work that he saw. Those people are on interviews saying this out of their own faces. So when you think about all of that and you go back to what we were told in court, whenever they said there was like a meeting and there was an investigation and he was found to have done nothing wrong, it all goes back to this was the end of the pandemic. There was like 3 years now where people were allowed to just do whatever the hell they wanted to. And they probably thought that they could just slide because they were allowed to slide for a couple of years. Because like I said, he was doing good grading on both and bad grading on both. So it doesn't really lead to a sexist issue. It's just people that didn't like that he was expecting better, I feel like. That's all I really get from like all of this. There are 2 more text thread screenshots, the meeting notes, and a self-evaluation form completed by Kohberger in the files. But there's no further information. Okay. Now we have 190. And it's from Lawrence Mowry, Facebook extended warrant. On March 30th, 2023, I applied for a warrant for user data from June 23rd, 2022 to August 1st, 2022, associated with the Facebook accounts with any of the following identifiers: Maddie, Dylan, Bethany, Kaylee, Ethan, Xana, and there's the identifier on the end. A previous warrant to Facebook requested the date range August 1st, 2022 to November 19th, 2022. Based on information obtained from Washington State University, Bryan Kohberger moved to Pullman, Washington on or about June 23rd, 2022. I requested both historical records and real-time provisional records in order to determine if Kohberger had any interactions with the victims leading up to the November 13th, 2022 crime. On March 30th, 2023, the warrant was granted and signed by Magistrate Megan Marshall. 14 days to serve, served on April 3rd, 2023. They received email confirmation with a reference number. On April 26, 2023, I received an email from Facebook stating the data requested was available. He logged in, downloaded it to the computer, and sent off the receipt of record. 191. Lawrence Mowry again. Verizon extended warrant. On March 30th, 2023, I applied for a warrant for call data records from June 23rd, 2022 to August 1st, 2022, associated with the T-Mobile accounts, but this says Verizon. With any of the following identifiers. Why does it say T-Mobile? A previous warrant to Snapchat requested the date range August 1st, 2022. Okay, this all says the exact same shit all over again. On March 30th, 2023, there was a warrant, 14 days to serve, served on April 3rd. On May 1st, he received notice from Verizon that it was ready to go. So this T-Mobile thing just must have been an accident. Because again, they use these templates and sometimes they don't pay attention. He logged in, he downloaded it, he sent a copy of the receipt. No further information. Okay, Brett Payne. OCIR originals from the FBI. This was on 5/3 of 23, so we're getting closer to grand jury time. I really can't wait for that. The grand jury transcripts, if they ever release that, that's going to be cray stuff. On Tuesday, May 2nd, 2023, I received 2 thumb drives from FBI Technical Specialist TS. Okay. T advised the thumb drives contained an original document provided to BAU by the University of Idaho OCRI office. OCRI requested the documents be returned to them when possible. The frickin' frack is BAU? Something university? They weren't supposed to be there? I booked the items to MPD evidence to be retained as originals until it is deemed appropriate for them to be given back to OCIR. Okay. 193. Lawrence Mowry, again with an extended warrant for Instagram. On March 30th, I applied for a warrant for user data from June 23rd, 2022 to August 1st for Bethany, Dylan, Ethan, Xana, and Kaylee. No, Maddie. A previous warrant to Facebook requested date range August 1st. Okay, that's the same thing right here. In attempting to serve the warrant, I found the identifier for Kernodle should have been blank without the period separator. I requested assistance for a new warrant from the Latell County Prosecutor's Office for the correct account. On March 30th, 2023, there was a warrant granted, 14 days to serve. April 3rd, 2023, the warrant was served via the portal, and an email was received confirming receipt with an internal reference number. On May 9th, 2023, I received an email from Meta stating the data requested pursuant to the warrant was available. He logged on, downloaded it to the computer. I was able to download the account data for blank, blank, and blank. However, the data files for blank were not available. I ensured the account was on the warrant served to Meta, and it was. I then went to verify the account was listed on the online portal, which it was not. During service of the warrant, a portal required me to list the accounts on the warrant. This account did not get listed on the form. I sent a follow-up response to Meta asking for the data requested on the warrant. A warrant return receipt and affidavit were completed, and these documents were sent to the Latell County Prosecutor's Office to be returned to the court. A copy was then also sent to Facebook. I wonder whose account that was that had a problem. Okay, 194. Oh! Interview with Kohberger. We're finally getting to something. Holy crap. Okay. Interview in Pennsylvania. This is also insane to me, bro, because this interview happened on December 29th, 2022. And look at the date this loser is filling out this report. This is like right before the grand jury. You wait 5 months to write this report? What? Wild. Okay. Yeah, that right there. Is it? I knew there's something about a dog. Because remember, Ann Taylor said something in court about a dog that he loves and trains or something like that. And we were waiting for it. That's what I had heard, is that it was at his parents' house. And so the whole time I'm thinking, where's this dog? Like, where's the dog whenever the house is being like kicked in and broken apart? Where are they keeping the dog the whole time? Sure is interesting. On December 29th, 2022, ISP Detective Sergeant Gilbertson, FBI Special Agent Shirley, and I arrived in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania in preparation for the service of the arrest and search warrants for Kohberger and his family's residence at blank blank Albrightsville, Pennsylvania. After several coordination meetings, Detective Gilbertson, S.A. Shirley, and I drove to the Pennsylvania State Police Barracks to Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, to await the arrival of Kohberger after his arrest and to interview him upon his arrival. At approximately 0200 hours on December 30th, 2022, Kohberger was brought to the PSP Stroudsburg Barracks and placed in an interview room. The interview was recorded on the built-in video system at the barracks, as well as Detective Gilbertson's pocket recorder. So there's video from PSP and Gilbertson's own audio. Detective Gilbertson and I were the interviewers present. This is a summary of our interview with Kohberger and is not verbatim transcript of the interview. A full interview transcription will be attached to the case file. Well, I hope he at least listened to it one more time before he wrote this, considering it had been 5 months. The freak. Detective Gilbertson and I began by introducing ourselves and stating which agencies we represented. When I stated who I was, Kohberger stated, "You do look familiar." Who said this? Payne? Probably because he'd been on, like, in the background at the conferences and shit. When I stated who I was, okay, he said he looked familiar. Detective Gilbertson and I prepared our note-taking materials, and Detective Gilbertson read Kohberger his Miranda rights advisement. Detective Gilbertson asked Kohberger if he understood his rights, to which he replied he did. After collecting Kohberger's personal information and inquiring about any medications, Detective Gilbertson and I began to speak to Kohberger. Detective Gilbertson asked Kohberger about the SWAT operation at the house, to which Kohberger replied he was concerned about his parents and his dog. I wonder what kind of dog it is. Like, not that it actually matters, but I'm just curious because, like, we haven't even, like, known that this existed until now, which is crazy. Detective Gilbertson asked Kohberger if he was going to Washington State University, to which he replied he was. We made small talk with Kohberger about sports for some time. Kohberger stated he didn't follow WSU football much, but was a baseball fan. Detective Gilbertson asked Kohberger if he had only been at WSU for one semester. Kohberger confirmed this and said he came to WSU with his father on July the 1st. See, the June 23rd date is the one that we had for like a super long time, but then we started popping into like the July 1st, and that's about a week. It's about a week. Kohberger then went on to say he was a first-year PhD student in criminal justice and criminology. Detective Gilbertson asked Kohberger what the process was to apply for a PhD. Kohberger stated he applied at 2 places, UC Irvine and WSU. Kohberger said he was going to graduate with his master's in criminal justice from DeSales and was inspired. Kohberger then asked if it was okay to engage in small talk like we were, to which he replied it was. He asked that question? Like, can we just go back to talking about baseball for a minute? That's weird. After briefly mentioning he was strengthened by the fact his mother and father were okay, Kohberger said he applied to the 2 aforementioned schools before they did not require the GRE exam. Because they did not require the GRE exam. Kohberger then spoke about the GRE for a brief time and then said he was accepted by WSU. What the frick frack is that? Graduate records examination, a standardized test for graduate school admissions in the U.S. and Canada. So he went to the one that didn't have a test on purpose. I know a lot of people don't test well, but they're really like freaking smart until they get in front of a. See, this is all it says. Graduate records examination. I know some people that don't test well. They're geniuses until they look at a piece of paper. So maybe that's why. Detective Gilbertson then asked Kohberger what led him down the road of becoming a professor. Kohberger stated it was because he loved being in college and stated knowledge was far more important to him than money. Kohberger added WSU had a good program to study under and then said, "You guys know all about this more than likely." Kohberger then asked questions about the University of Idaho and other Idaho universities before stating he didn't know much about Idaho or Washington and had not left the tri-state area much. Kohberger then returned to speaking about his focus on learning and how he thought he could obtain his doctorate degree. Kohberger then said he recently returned home to see his family. So he actually applied to 2 different schools, but this program over at WSU was the one that he was specifically recommended for when it came to that one professor. So it wasn't actually like the first place he wanted to go. There was like 2 options because he didn't want to take a test, but she also recommended him to WSU. Okay, that matters. Detective Gilbertson. Oh, wait, hold on. Okay, Kohberger then said he recently returned home to see his family. Detective Gilbertson then asked Kohberger about his time at DeSales University. Kohberger spoke for some time about his time at Northampton Community College and DeSales. Kohberger then spoke about how he became interested in criminal justice and stated he thought about being a police officer, but did not want to make that commitment unless he was absolutely sure. I feel like it's a lot easier to become a cop than it is to do what you're doing, sir. Like, they used to require some sort of associates, at least, in criminal justice when it came to being a police officer, but I just recently learned that that's not the case anymore. That they actually don't require, like, anything above a GED and then, like, being able to basically pass, like, your fitness stuff. At least that's how it is in a lot of these Texas towns. So I don't know about that whole, like, make a commitment thing unless you're sure. I feel like going after a PhD is a way bigger commitment than becoming a cop. Long, time-wise. Kohberger also spoke more about the process to get into a PhD program and how competitive it can be. Okay. Detective Gilbertson then asked Kohberger about his move to Washington. Kohberger said he drove across country and wanted the challenge of driving across country and experiencing it with his father. Kohberger then said he took a different route back home with his father for Christmas break to avoid snow. Kohberger spoke about his travels and the risks of such travels in winter. Kohberger then began to speak about the beauty of the environment and its relationship to God and a higher power. So he's religious. He spoke about this for some time, and Kohberger said he was raised Christian, but was always a skeptic? Okay, except when confronted with the beauty of the natural world. Interesting. Detective Gilbertson asked Kohberger if he had ever been to the Pacific Northwest prior to coming to WSU, and Kohberger said he had not. I asked Kohberger if he and his father made any stops along their way back to Pennsylvania. He told me they visited Colorado, but the main goal was to just drive. Kohberger then told a story about seeing an unmarked police car near Kansas City speed up behind him, catch up to another vehicle, turn on its emergency lights, and then drive away. Kohberger thought this was strange and unsure why it occurred. So got up behind him, caught up to another vehicle, turned on their lights, but then took off and didn't actually pull over anyone? Okay. Detective Gilbertson then asked Kohberger about the job he mentioned. Kohberger stated he was a teaching assistant, meaning that's what I'm doing right now that you're asking me. That's my employment status. I'm a teaching assistant. Okay. Kohberger then talked about how busy he was and how the funding package that comes along with being a teaching assistant is what makes the extra work worth it. Kohberger then discussed ongoing projects with WSU PD and Pullman PD. Ongoing projects. So just because he didn't get the internship doesn't mean he wasn't actually doing stuff with them? Kohberger spoke more about how being a TA is essentially assisting the professors and the department, like the police department or the criminal justice department. Kohberger stated he did not get to assist with teaching, with the exception of assisting with office hours. Detective Gilbertson asked Kohberger if he would be a TA again next semester, and Kohberger replied he would. So right here in this interview, he's like, yeah, like my job is fine. I'm going to be doing the same thing that I'm doing now. Kohberger then stated he understood why we are engaging in small talk, but would appreciate it if we explained to him what he was doing there. Detective Gilbertson asked Kohberger why he thought he was there, why he thought we were there. He said he wanted Detective Gilbertson to tell him. Detective Gilbertson said we were there because of what occurred in Moscow, but did not provided any further detail. Detective Gilbertson asked Kohberger if he watched the news. Kohberger said, I watched the news. Detective Gilbertson then asked Kohberger why he thought I looked familiar. Kohberger said he wasn't sure and stated I had a familiar face and looked like someone he used to know. Payne? Mr. Clean's son? Okay. Detective Gilbertson then said we were there because of what happened in November just off the University of Idaho campus. Detective Gilbertson asked Kohberger if he knew what that was, to which Kohberger replied, of course. When prompted to elaborate, Kohberger said it was the incident we had been investigating for. How long has it been? Kohberger said there were probably several incidents, but then said he was aware of a homicide because of a WSU alert he received. Detective Gilbertson asked when Kohberger received the alert. Kohberger said he wasn't sure, but thought it was sometime the previous month. Detective Gilbertson confirmed that was why they were there and asked if Kohberger wanted to talk about that. Kohberger replied, well, I think I would need a lawyer. Kohberger then asked if we would explain to him what we were there for specifically and added he was tired. Detective Gilbertson again stated we were investigating the homicides of the 4 students and that we had questions and things we hoped Kohberger could help us understand. Kohberger sat back and said he had the utmost respect for law enforcement, but stated it was a constitutional right to speak to an attorney. Detective Gilbertson affirmed this. Kohberger then re-engaged and said the only thing he heard of from Moscow was an alert that came to his phone. Kohberger then said he wanted to talk to an attorney. Detective Gilbertson said we would stop now because Kohberger wanted to speak to an attorney. Kohberger then asked where his parents were and where his dog was. Kohberger re-engaged again and asked what questions we would have for him. Detective Gilbertson then asked Kohberger again if he understood his rights and asked specifically what Kohberger wished. Kohberger asked what specifically we wanted to talk to him about and the reason. I told Kohberger he invoked his Fifth Amendment rights and we were not going to ask him any further questions. Kohberger asked again for the reason he was there, but added he would like to talk to an attorney. At this point, we concluded our interview with Kohberger and left the room. Okay. I mean, I'm not, like, nothing is just, like, jumping out at me, so okay. Okay, 195. Okay, we have another installment from WSU from Brett Payne. Okay. On Thursday, May 11th, 2023, I received an email from AS containing a secure link and password to access installment 9 from WSU. I accessed the link using the provided password and downloaded the file titled installment 9, something 2 and 3. But for some reason, they're blocking out the word. Upon opening the files, I discovered there were 2 PDF files containing 262 and 184 pages, respectively. The files contained scanned pages of email correspondence, class assignments, mentor assignments, and other miscellaneous documents. Of note, there are several emails in the files which discuss Kohberger's specific issues, which led to him being terminated from the TA program and losing his funding for his PhD program. So was he actually fired or not? See, this is where it gets confusing because now he's saying that he has emails, but then as Jenkins is talking about him, he's saying that as of the 20th, everything was still on par. And they said that they did an investigation and he was found to have done nothing wrong. So then where is the termination stuff? May 11th. This is around the grand jury time. They need to put the dates out there. They need to put the letters out there because this doesn't make any sense. They had to trespass him off the property. And according to Jenkins, when he looked at all of Kohberger's files, there was nothing in there to show that he was not coming back. This is going to be interesting to get all this information, because I'm really wondering if they did an investigation, found that he did nothing wrong, the way that Ann Taylor said, and then after they got the information about what was going on, they decided to pull it all together and then do something with it. That doesn't even make any sense. Okay, Lawrence Mowry, Kohberger AT&T data, 5/11 of 23. I'm pretty sure this is like, what was the date? I don't remember the date. I don't remember the exact date, but this was the same time frame as the grand jury stuff. Okay, I was assigned the task of examining the call detail records that were obtained from AT&T pursuant to a warrant served by Corporal Brett Payne for the time frame of November 12, 2022 at 0 hours through November 14, 2022 at 0 hours Pacific Standard Time. These records were requested for the account associated with the phone number blank, known as the 8458 phone. This phone showed the subscriber as Bryan Kohberger. Well, it's supposed to be with a Y, but okay. I was specifically requested to examine the records showing connectivity to cell towers between the hours of 0200 and 0600 Pacific Time, as this was the time frame surrounding the homicides at 1122 King Road. Although the records contained records for voice, data, and SMS usage in the 48-hour data set, I only located 27 data usage records in the specified time frame. To assist in mapping the location of the cellular towers and the direction of their sector antennas, I imported the data into CastViz version 30.00. The 8458 phone connects with several different cell towers in Pullman between 0200 and 0225 hours. The phone appears to be traveling within or near the city of Pullman, Washington. At 0242 hours, the phone connects to a tower near Northeast Skyview Drive on Washington State University campus. At 0247 hours, the phone connected to a tower on Observation Drive on the Washington State University campus. In continuing to examine the data, I found an approximately 2-hour period with no interactions between the 8458 phone and the AT&T network between 0247 and 0448 hours. The phone connects to a tower located near Paradise Ridge, south of Moscow, Idaho, at 0448 hours. The phone connects with towers south of Moscow, Idaho, which is consistent with travel back to Pullman, Washington, utilizing towers along the route. From my training and experience, I know cellular devices can send and receive data to cellular towers with the user's input, such as surfing the internet, or without the user's input, system data. The normal reasons for a cellular device to not show connections to a cellular tower are the device is not in range of the tower's signal, the device is physically blocked from receiving sending, such as a Faraday bag, the device is in airplane mode, or the device is powered off. I contacted AT&T Global Legal Demand Center and confirmed devices on the AT&T network connect at least every 60 minutes if no user connectivity is initiated. I verified the location of the several towers shown in CastViz and confirmed their locations with the data in the call detail records. And okay, who was this written by? Mowry, and it was double verified by Payne. Of course it was. Okay. 197. Okay, Brett Payne. WSU again. Okay, yeah. Can we get some dates and verifications and shit, please? Because that'd be beautiful. We're getting a million different freaking stories, and it's really super annoying. On Monday, May 15th, 2023, I received an email from AS from WSU containing a secure link and password for installment 9 of WSU records requested via subpoena. So if they've been requested and they're in MPD's possession, I wonder if they'll give them to me if I FOIA them. Because technically they're now in their possession. I'm going to try. I accessed the secure link using the provided password and downloaded a compressed file titled Installment 9 IT Records to Prosecutor to my department computer. Upon doing so, I accessed the file and found it contained requested technologies information. I attached the compressed zip file to the case electronically. Okay, so then we have 3 more. This is number 198, WSU installment 10. Okay. Maybe we have some more info here. On Monday, May 15th, 2023, I received an email from AS from WSU containing a secure link, blah, 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 installment number 10. Upon review, the compressed file contained several subfolders containing documents from one of Kohberger's courses, teaching assisting documents, text messages, and email chains. So nothing of substance. I attached the zip file, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, that's not what I was looking for. But okay. I'm going to FOIA this because if it's in their possession, I don't feel like it's like shouldn't be shared, but we're going to find out. Okay. Google linked accounts warrant from Lawrence Mowry dated 5/23/23. On February 23rd, 2023, I applied for a warrant for any Gmail accounts linked to Bryan Kohberger by recovery email, cookie, Android ID, creation, IP, or phone number associated with any of the following identifiers. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. On February 24th, 2023, the warrant was granted and signed by Magistrate Megan Marshall with 14 days to serve. On February 25th, 2023, at approximately 16:35, the warrant was served to Google, and they received an email shortly with a reference number. Getting tired. On February 27th, 2023, I received an email from Google stating the data requested pursuant to the warrant was available to download. I was unavailable to download the data and requested assistance from Corporal Brett Payne. Corporal Payne logged into the law enforcement portal and began downloading the files, and they were retained at the Moscow Police Department. A warrant return receipt and affidavit were completed by Corporal Payne, and these documents were sent to the Latah County Prosecutor's Office to be returned. Okay. Number 200. Lawrence Mowry. Instagram extended warrant. I can't believe we went through 50 of these in 2.5 hours. These were really short. April 18th, 2023, I applied for a warrant for user data from June 23rd, 2022 to November 21st, 2022, associated with the Instagram accounts with any of the following identifiers, Xana and Maddie. A previous warrant to Facebook requested the date range August 1st, 2022 to November 20th, 2022. Based on information obtained from Washington State University, Bryan Kohberger moved to Pullman on or about June 23rd. Okay, that's the same information. In attempting to serve the previous warrant, I found the identifier for Kernodle should have been blank without the... Is this the exact same damn thing? Without the period. The account for Mogen had not been previously requested. Okay. On April 19th, 2023, the warrant was granted and signed. They had 14 days to serve. It was served on April 20th. They received confirmation. On May 12th, 2023, I received an email from Instagram stating the data requested pursuant to the warrant was not available. It appears the user designation U with Kaylee Goncalves, no, blank U was being considered part of the username. Well, yeah, but that's for Reddit. And this is supposed to be for Instagram. I remember seeing this. Error. Okay. This designation was being considered part of the username. This occurred with the Kaylee Goncalves request previously as well. Yeah, that's for Reddit. A warrant return for no data and affidavit were completed, and these documents were sent to the Latah County Prosecutor's Office to be returned to the court. A new warrant with only the usernames will be requested. Okay, that's it. That's 50. That's 151 through 200. Yeah. I want some more information about the WSU stuff because there's been way too many things that have proven that he was not fired before he was arrested. And Jenkins' interview really freaking like concreted that. So that report from Payne, I really want to see the records that they have, because if they've gotten them from subpoena, I don't know if they would still fall under like stipulations for privacy stuff because now they're evidence. Plus, all of the reports have these like little numbers on them. So whenever the stuff's being FOIA'd, I'm going to use the report numbers. I'm going to use the report numbers. Because I'm going to file a bunch more stuff now. A bunch of stuff. Cyray has a channel. Him and his wife have a channel. I haven't gone over there. There it is right there. Socialite Crime Club, something like that. Yeah. I haven't gone over there to see if he's like said anything. I'm really curious as to if is he talking? Has he made a video or something? Because that would be interesting. I'm waiting on him to talk. Like, because he, again, 20 plus years putting bad guys away. And for the first time ever, he wants to work for the defense and he's doing it for free. I'm waiting for him to speak. That'll be interesting to see what he has to say. I'm going to look and see if he said anything. Probably not, though. Mm-mm. The last live was streamed 8 months ago. The last video was 8 months ago. The last update on their community tab was 7 months ago. So they haven't done anything. Here's the link right here to his channel. Hey, Legendary. Yeah, he hasn't said anything. They haven't done anything in quite a long time. Yeah, I wish Cyray would speak. I don't think he's going to say anything because I think Bryan's going to appeal. Very possible. I mean, it could be, and that's what a lot of people think, that because they know that they have like a certain like time frame that they can appeal things. And the way that Judge Hippler said, you know, you realize that if you file an appeal, then that takes away the plea agreement. Meaning, if you file an appeal, then it takes away what we agreed to with no DP and all these other things, meaning it goes back to the way that it was before. This is now null and void. We go to trial. And it'd be interesting if that is the reason why they did all this stuff, because these damn documents, they're not really like saying a lot of anything. Like, I'm confused now more than ever about the WSU stuff, but the court records say that he was found to have done nothing wrong. And again, Jenkins is talking on the 20th after looking through Kohberger's records like he's still working there, that he still lives there, that he's still a TA there. It's very confusing. I hate this case too. I hate this case too. Could be Molly been delivering Blue Addie's X and E like to have? Maybe there was some in her room. It's in his room. So I don't know. Such ridiculous stuff. All ridiculous stuff. Okay, let me see what I missed over here. It's freaking 12:15. I'm going to do my damnedest to go live twice tomorrow. It's only been 2.5 hours, and we went through 50 of them. And I talked to you guys for a few minutes before, so none of these were that long. Thank you for the gifted membership, Jules. Thank you so much. Thank you for the $19.99 onward and outward. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for the 5, Jules. If PSP gives you any issues with FOIA requests as a non-res, let me know and I'll get them for you so you don't have to. I don't mind at all, you rock girl. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the $2 too. Extremely detailed 5 months later. Which one was that about? What part was that about? Oh, yeah. Like how? The interview. Yeah. Why didn't you write that report up the second that you got back to Moscow? Why did you write a report up about your initial interview with him that many months later, right before the grand jury? They were trying to get all their ducks in a row. It's the only reason. Unbelievable. I cannot believe that they take that long to write a report for something so important. Insane. 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 Wild. Okay. I am going to go and relax, try to get some sleep so that I don't oversleep and then feel like a zombie and don't do what I want to do tomorrow. So you guys need to go do the same. Go to bed. Go to bed. Go to bed. Thank you for the $2. Love the shirt. Go and buy one now. I love this design. I can't wait till it gets cold because I'm going to buy a hoodie like this too. I have it to where it has it in black. And then I also have a hat that has this part up here, but I made this hat here first and then was like, oh, will it look okay on a hat? So then I put it on the hat and I was like, oh crap, it looks great. So I'm going to have to buy another hat. So yeah, if you go to the community post, I have the links in there. And if you remember, you have a discount code, plus I'm running a sale. So it's like a double whammy. Thank you for the $10, Miller Time. You're just being great. You're just being amazing. Holy crap. When you read E.G. interview, did you touch on the facts that 1, he didn't mention what time K&M were dropped off, and 2, he doesn't say anything about DM texting him? Yeah, I noticed that. I noticed he doesn't mention anything about Dylan. I'm wondering when that part comes in. I'm hoping that there's more from him. Because I do find it really interesting, too, that whenever they were first driving vehicles around the area, they were driving vehicles that were more similar to his silver car to see like what it looked like in the cameras. So I found that interesting, too. But I also don't understand, it's not like I don't understand it, but it makes it more confusing when he's like, yeah, I'm on the clock for Uber, but they're still contacting him through a personal mode instead of getting him through the app. And then he's like on the clock while he's getting them personally, but then he's off the clock right before they need him to like come and get them again. It's very odd. It's just the back and forth too. I don't understand the back and forth. It doesn't make any sense why they can't be just like straight up honest about stuff and why it has to go everywhere. I need to go back too and see if they mention anything about him in the other ones. I don't think they do. Where they talked about like hearing them in the living room, or like they were watching Vampire Diaries in the living room, and then Bethany saying that she was also in the living room with them at some point. There's like one mention of them going up to Kaylee's room while Kaylee was getting ready for bed, but I don't think it mentioned anything about talking about going to get more food then. Oh, you know what? It did say something about Taco Bell. But does it say that they contacted him? I'm gonna have to go back and see. I'm gonna have to go back and take a look and see. There's so much going on. So much going on. Okay. I'm gonna get off of here. You guys go get some rest. Y'all have been great. Thank you for spending your Saturday nights here instead of out doing cray things. Pat yourselves on the back for making a good choice. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get off of this. Y'all get some sleep. Let me throw this on here. Please do not forget to leave a like on your way out and subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed already. All right, you guys. See y'all.